productivity advice junkie? Have you self-diagnosed as a procrastinator? Do you feel like you're failing at adulting because you never seem to get things done in a timely manner, while also looking immaculate, having a perfect home, and a happy marriage with well-behaved children? Are you lazy? Or are you perhaps just overloaded? Welcome to The Feminine Duality, a podcast for midlife women where we heal from burnout and we learn how to take charge of our crazy time again. My cat Luca has decided to join me from the very start of this recording. We shall see if she's still here at the end of it, but right now she's lying on my lap. She's getting cuddled, very content. Yes, I'm getting kitty smiles here. It's very nice. Once upon a time, I was in a deep burnout depression. This is not news to you who has followed this podcast from its very start, and I'm going to keep talking about it because a very big theme about the feminine duality is burnout. But yes, I burnt out and I was severely depressed. But I am, at the core, a very capable woman, and I take responsibility for myself, and so I self-referred for therapy, and I got put in an NHS program, which was group coaching program over Zoom, and I have now dated it to the exact year of 2021, haven't I? The era of Zoom. And this particular group program, it was designed for and aimed at people who were incapacitated by their depression. The aim was to activate us, get us out of that slump of doing nothing. It was very prescriptive. It was very patronizing. It was very familiar. Just start, even if you're scared. Just get up, ideally earlier in the morning than you are. Just get out. 10,000 steps, people. You all need those 10,000 steps. Just do more and write an essay about it and present in our next meeting. You know, it was absolutely and utterly the wrong thing for where I was at. I mean, there I was, a single special needs mom with responsibilities coming out of my ears, and I was most certainly not doing nothing. And I had a nervous system that was absolutely fried. Yes, I was at times incapacitated. I'm not going to say that I wasn't, but badgering me to just do more did absolutely nothing to help me feel better. Because I was overloaded. I was doing too much. I was doing the wrong things. I had no space. I had no space in my environment, and I most definitely had no space inside of me. I see the same with a lot of productivity advice out there, and there's a lot. How to stop procrastinating. 30 days to self-discipline. Eat that frog. Pomodoro timers. Morning routines for productive days. This is the planner you've been looking for all along, as you've been buying planner after planner after planner, trying to get in control of your crazy life. Okay? None of these things are bad advice. They're not. They're actually really, really good advice, and to a certain extent, they work. But they're missing something really important. They're missing a softer, kinder, less punishing note. They're missing recognition. What is it you're actually already doing? They're missing capacity. What are you capable of today? They're missing passion. What gives you even a little bit of a spark? Have you felt a spark lately? But I don't think that's what you're looking for when you go online and try to find the productivity advice that is going to make you the most productive and capable woman on the planet, as if by magic. You think that pushing this new system on top of it is going to be the key. And so you try it for a few days, for a few weeks, and it sort of works, and then life happens, as it does. You fall off and you feel like an absolute failure again. And you go online to find the next solution, the next tool, the next thing that's going to be the fix. And you feel like an absolute failure. Sweetheart, you're already amazing. You already do a lot. If you are who I think you are, then you're working. You have a family, possibly teenagers, perhaps a pet. You are successful at your job and at maintaining an image of having it all together. People don't look at you and think, oh, wow, what a mess. You probably are. I mean, have you paid attention to your self-talk lately? What do you actually think of yourself? We think, wow, isn't she amazing? Oh, I wish I was more like her. But when was the last time you used the word amazing in reference to yourself? Have you ever sat down and just written a list of everything that you love about the woman you are? Maybe you are one of the many neurodivergent women who absolutely did not get diagnosed because it was the 90s, and in the 90s only boys were neurodivergent, right? And you have been coping and been masking all your life very successfully, I might add, until perimenopause went, no. No, those coping mechanisms don't work anymore. We're gonna take the mask away. What have you got left now, eh? I should do better. I should be better. I need to stop procrastinating. If only I wasn't so lazy. I failed to tick off my 30 items long to-do list today between work and bedtime. What a failure I am. And because you didn't manage to self-actualize your dreams over dinner while helping kids with the homework, breaking up an argument, walking the dog, filling up the dishwasher, running to the supermarket because your kids suddenly remembered an absolutely vital thing that they have to have tomorrow morning, speaking to your sister on the phone about her marital problems, and asking yourself if you'll ever have enough energy again for sex, you have failed. Because none of those things that you actually did do were on the to-do list. So now you need a new system, a new planner, or maybe an app. And you start over with a new routine. You feel very hopeful about this one until life happens. That system didn't stick either. Well, it's obvious. The problem is you. You're lazy. You're wrong. You're a failure. We keep telling stories about ourselves, and these stories, they become the truth. You repeat something to yourself over and over, you're going to start believing it. My story? I don't do shit by halves. When things blow up, I blow them up good. That's my story. And I have endless proof for that story. I ended my marriage. I moved into my own place where I lived by myself for the first time in my entire adult life. And I was made redundant all in a time span of 6 weeks. Boom! Right? When I get overwhelmed, it is because several things pile up at the same time. And then I have this story about myself that I don't do shit by halves. And chances are I start looking for evidence that I don't do shit by halves. I look for evidence that things are gonna blow up and blow up good. And in the overwhelm, I do that instead of looking at the bigger picture. Instead of looking at how incredible I am and everything that I'm capable of handling. My friend tells the story in which she, our heroine, is the great procrastinator. I have seen her very impressive collection of books on the topic, and yet she says, oh, I still procrastinate. My friend works full-time. She has 2 teenage kids. She's renovating a house together with her husband in a marriage for which the word stagnant is no longer a sufficient description. She has a sibling with chronic illness. She has aging and poorly parents. But she's also the one who is always there for everyone else. Her door is always open. I know that I can show up on her doorstep and she's going to invite me in with a hug, provide me with a drink and something to eat and the offer of sitting down and making myself comfortable, right? Admittedly, I am probably gonna have to move a pile of clean and folded towels in order to find somewhere to sit down because those haven't quite made it to the cupboard yet. And that is the thing that she sees. I am so bad. I can't even put the laundry away. If only I could stop procrastinating, I would magically be a better human. And yeah, sure, if we all live in Disneyland, little birds would put that laundry away for us as well, right? While she invited me in and made me feel so welcome, she also broke up an argument between her kids, had a WhatsApp message from her sister, and a snide exchange with her husband. I don't see a woman who's procrastinating. I see a woman in functional burnout. I see a woman drowning in emotional labor and cognitive load. I see no appreciation for the invisible work that she does. And I see zero support. I see that she doesn't have a safe base in herself, that her nervous system is always on high alert. But sure, she's procrastinating. That is the problem. She is the problem. How do we change the story? How can we reframe this belief that we are the problem? That we're procrastinating? That we're lazy? That we are not enough? I offered this as an alternative. Not all procrastination comes from avoidance. Sometimes it comes from overload. And that it's perhaps time to recognize and appreciate that we are already doing so much. After my utter failure with the NHS therapy, I did get the chance to go on a course about mental well-being for special needs parents. And this course came at the solution from a completely different direction. Yes, there was a whole list of pillars there for what makes up mental well-being, socializing, eating well, movement, rest, sleep. You know the list. Okay? We know that list off by heart by now. But one of the things this course helped me with was recognizing all of the small ways in which I'm already meeting those things, and to kind of celebrate myself for it in a very non-judgmental way. Perhaps that was just what I took away from it, but I got to pat myself on the back for saying hello to somebody on school run. I got to celebrate having Mackie D's for dinner because we'd been running errands all day and we were approaching hungry. Sometimes McDonald's is the healthiest choice because it's there. It's easy and you're not washing up afterwards. Okay? Maybe this is just what I took away from it. Pretty sure healthy eating was a big thing in there. Doom scrolling got rewritten as a conscious effort to decompress. Falling asleep for a bit during the day became reset instead of laziness. I got some space. And in that space, I started appreciating myself. And the more I appreciated myself, the more I was capable of dealing with all the shit that was going on. I could appreciate that I was not falling behind or avoiding things. I was actually carrying way more than my fair share. The story I was telling about myself, it was starting to change. Oh, there goes the cat. There are people out there who recognize this thing that I am talking about. That there needs to be a change in the just do it school of overcoming procrastination. People who see that there is a bigger picture. I'm sure that there are people who genuinely have a problem with procrastinating. Who have the capacity, they just don't have the get up and go. I'm sure there are. And for them, those who are under-engaged and stuck in avoidance and have no structure, the message of get up and get started, it's probably very good. It is probably very helpful. It certainly wasn't for me. I don't think that is true for the overwhelmed midlife woman who is chronically responsible and quite frankly drowning. I feel like there's a real systemic mismatch here. There's also, in a lot of this advice, there's an assumption of just stable energy levels. Regardless of time of year, time of month, time of day, we just have a nice even energy level, yes? I don't know of a single person who has this. I don't even think men have this. Quite frankly, I don't. But I'm absolutely certain that women don't. We have way too many things that impact our energy levels, from external factors like work and family to internal factors like hormones and general health. We do not go through with an even level of energy all the time. We are starting to see this named in the narrative now, and that's fantastic. Cycle syncing is now a thing. I love cycle syncing. It's a brilliant concept. The idea is to adjust your planning, your exercise, your activity levels, even your diet to where you are in your menstrual cycle. It recognizes that women are more outgoing, more energetic, and have a much higher output during the ovulatory phase. And also that during the menstrual phase, our energy levels dip, we become more introverted, we are weaker. I mean, there have finally been scientific studies on women. Hallelujah! Who thought we'd ever see this day? Where they've looked at female athletes and they have managed to prove that during their periods, female athletes are weaker and more prone to injury. I mean, we all knew this. We've known this. Ever since our first period, we have known this. But there are finally scientists who are telling us that we were correct all along. Go for a run, love. You'll feel better. I won't. Right. Where was I? Yes, the only problem I have with cycle syncing is that I am a 49-year-old perimenopausal woman, and what my cycle gets up to, well, it's pretty much a case of wait and see. Are we ovulating this month? Haven't quite made my mind up. I might not bother, or I might decide to pop them off like the ovary is a machine gun. It could happen on day 5, it could happen on day 20. Surprise! I find that cycle syncing is a little unreliable at this stage in my life, shall we say. But I do love the fact that we are now starting to say we can't expect the same level of energy, the same level of output, the same level of capacity every day, all the time. These things actually shift, they ebb and flow, even if cycle syncing is not the solution for me. My capacity sync. I have understanding for the times when, for whatever reason, I feel more overloaded and feel like my cognitive bandwidth is smaller. And I leave space for the days when my energy is sky high. When I plan for the day, or even the half day, or even the next 2 hours. I look at what have I got within me right now? What can happen? And that doesn't mean that I don't forward plan. Of course I plan ahead. I mean, I am asking an awful lot of myself at the moment. I'm in the early stages of my entrepreneurial journey. I have big visions for the feminine duality The podcast is just one step of many. And I'm doing this while I run a YouTube channel about life with a special needs child, and while I have a day job, and I co-parent my children, and I have a relationship, and everything else that life decides to serve up, right? I have big visions of what the feminine duality is going to be. And I also have very, very strong limitations of when I can realize my vision. Okay, Luca, my darling cat, can you make a decision on where you are? We're eating houseplants now, okay. And so I adjust my planning all the time. I have the big goals. I have goals for this month, I have goals for this quarter, I have goals for this year. But what capacity have I got today? Last week I had a day when I started the day job at 5 a.m. in the morning, so that meant a 3:30 alarm. I had a 10-hour shift. My shifts are physically very, very heavy work. And there's a lot of noise. So there's a lot of sensory overload. I did not have the children that night because I had a 5 a.m. start again the next morning. So I knew that I had a few hours in between having a nap after work and needing to sort out my own dinner and get ready for the bed and start winding down and all of those things, right? And I thought, if I get one thing done today, that'll be a good day. I opened my laptop and I started drafting an email to my email subscribers. And when I next looked up, I had finished it and sent it off. I had scripted 2 new podcast episodes and I had edited a vlog for my other YouTube channel. I had a day when my brain was firing on all cylinders, decisions were easy, and it just flowed. Nice and quick. It was glorious. My to-do list only had one item on it. I had planned for what I thought I had capacity for. But when it turned out that actually my capacity was much bigger, I did have the bigger vision for the month and for the quarter to draw on, and I could just slot in more things and get them sorted. Today I'm on my own, apart from the cat here who keeps jumping back and forth and blocking my view of the camera. Today I'm on my own. I'm neither at the day job nor am I a mum. I have a beautiful, the entire day of just doing my things. I thought that I would have recorded 2, maybe even 3 podcast episodes before lunch. It is now mid-afternoon and I am recording the first one. Because today my energy runs slower. Today my brain doesn't want to make fast decisions. My brain really doesn't want to be relied upon. Today my brain wants bullet points and notes and structure. Okay? Maybe I only record 1 podcast episode today. That's absolutely fine. It could be the easiest thing in the world for me to forget about that day last week and only beat myself up over what I haven't done today. But I'm working inside my planning framework that I have developed over the last several years through burnout and recovery and perimenopause and learning to work with a body and a central nervous system and a brain that seems to function very, very differently from even only 10 years ago. I refuse to buy into the story that I'm procrastinating, I'm lazy, because I know that those aren't the things. But I can buy into the story that capacity and energy levels fluctuate and that I can work within that and not against it. And if you're here now in this episode and you're going, okay, sounds great, tell me how to do that, I will say to you, follow the podcast. There's a whole series of episodes on this topic planned and they are coming. They will be interspersed with the occasional other topic like testosterone and realizing wild unimaginable dreams. But we are most definitely going to cover my planning method and framework in the next several episodes to come. And if you get on my email list, oh my God, cat! If you get yourself onto my email list, there will be even more. My email subscribers will get exclusive additional insights and resources.
Hey! I wanted to talk to you about our free mini course, The Burnout Reset. I have burnt out twice, and I'm not talking about the, I don't feel excited about this anymore, I must be a bit burnt out, that you so often hear about on social media. No, I'm talking about not being able to feel excitement about anything. Extreme anxiety and failing at even simple tasks. Despite being a highly capable woman, I just couldn't cope with anything. If any of that sounds familiar, the Burnout Reset is for you. You see, I learned a lot from my experience. The warning signs of burnout, the symptoms, but more importantly, how to actually heal and come back to yourself afterwards. In the Burnout Reset, you will learn what burnout looks like and what your personal energy thieves are. And you will get a list of small, doable steps to get some energy back that I promise you actually do help. This is how I managed to be a single mom with a medically complex child, work full-time, run 2 online brands, and feel energized instead of overwhelmed. Sign up to the Burnout Reset for free on subscribepage.io/4ATWME, or better yet, just click or copy the link in the description. As a bonus, you will also be signed up to our email list for more connection and support.
I have come to realise that if energy and capacity level fluctuate, that calls for a very different way of planning. And it calls for a very different way of relating to myself. I show more compassion to myself now. No more beating myself up when things don't go quite as I had hoped. Instead I follow, and this is actually quite a common thing that's used in a lot of coaching, is I say, oh, how very human of me. I got a phone call meant for my ex and co-parent. I felt an urge to do life admin for him. I got annoyed with the caller, I got annoyed with myself, I got annoyed with him, and now I haven't done that thing that was on my to-do list. Oh, how very human of me. All of it. How human of me to have that urge to start managing his life. I have a whole marriage experience of doing that. How human of me to get annoyed. How human of me to be temporarily derailed, right? I have a very different approach to planning now. While I have a big vision for the year and break that down into quarters, when it comes to actual day-to-day planning, I try to imagine what my capacity is going to be like for that day. And then when it comes to planning out my next several days, I try to imagine what is my capacity going to look like over those days, taking into account work shifts and meetings and things that have to happen around the kids and everything else, right? And I try to imagine what my capacity is going to look like. Then on the actual day, I check in on myself and I go, does this feel right? Is this realistic today? Is it realistic right now? And I allow myself to pivot within that. Now, before you say, oh, I could never do that because I would just go, today I don't feel like doing anything. Would you really? In all honesty, would you really? If you had faith in yourself, if you trusted your own decisions and your own judgment, would you honestly just fart your life away? I don't think you would. I have the vision. I know where I'm headed. So maybe today wasn't a 3-episode day because I don't have it in me to channel that amount of speaker energy today. But it was a 1-episode day and an Instagram post day and an email day. I can pivot within my plans and I can adjust to my capacity because I have trust in myself to make these decisions. I don't need to panic. I don't need to judge. I don't need to talk down on myself because I have learned to recognize just how much that I am more than capable of carrying with an awful lot of grace, even if I say so myself. I stopped telling the story of how useless I was. And instead I started telling the story of this amazing woman with this beautiful dream and unbelievable infectious energy. And now when I do find myself in a situation where I realize that I'm not doing shit by halves and I'm about to blow everything up, I actually haven't done that in quite a while. I've definitely been in times when it feels like a lot is happening, but I've not reached for the I don't do shit by halves story for a very long time. I guess the story is changing. And I'm changing it. What would you like your story to be? Do you want your story to be, I am the great procrastinator? Or do you want it to be, I am a woman in control of my precious time? What can you count as your big wins today? Did you cook a healthy dinner? Well, there's your win. You're eating well. Did you wolf down a bowl of cereal with 1 foot already in your PJs? Congratulations! You're amazing! You somehow remember that you needed to eat and you went for a perfectly reasonable option, even whilst being aware of your need to rest and sleep. Okay, you're awesome. Did you make it to the gym today? No, but you did do the weekly shop. Well, there's your weightlifting session. Those bags are heavy. And my cat just got the zoomies underneath the tripod. Thank you, cat. Although, actually, the story right now, it needed a little bit of a break. So maybe you are a pretty good co-creator after all. But could you get out from underneath the tripod? Luca, come on. I invite you to sit for a bit with a few questions. Where are you calling yourself lazy when you're actually overloaded? What are you already doing and already carrying that you're not really counting? What would change if you could believe that you are not broken? How would it feel like to plan your to-do list based on what your energy and capacity is and not out of what you think you ought to be able to get done? Especially that last one. We're going to come back to that topic in later episodes, so hang around. But thank you ever so much for being with me today. I will speak to you again soon.